Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno on what seems like day 35 of being in Connecticut. Frank Leboeuf is still with us. Although, Frank, you've actually got... you can help me now. Let's take a look at some French newspapers, shall we?
Oh, okay. The prince of the city.
The prince of the city?
Yeah, Luis Enrique, the, how do you say, the chef of orchestra, the master.
They mean the conductor?
The conductor, well done.
Yes.
All right. So basically, we needed Dan to translate.
All right, but he made his researches like 2 hours ago.
I definitely did, yeah. Have you met me?
Yes, I saw you.
Right, there we go. That's a wonderful start to the show, but we're live and we can't do it again. Welcome in then, Mario Malchiot's with us, as is Luis Garcia. Now, Luis was at the final, first time he's been on since we saw PSG win 5-0. Luis, do you want to take me through who's in this picture? Is that Samuel Eto'o next to you in the middle?
Claude Makélélé.
Yes, sir. Yes, it was Claude Makélélé, Iniesta, and Materazzi, of course. I think that was just arriving to the stadium. We saw Samuel Eto'o. He was with his crew, with his family, and some friends, and he decided to take a picture. And there you are. I think they're fantastic players, top players. They are not better in the business. So, yeah, it was beautiful to be there. A lot of top talent and a lot of good football on the pitch.
And you were there as well, Luis. What did you make of the final overall? Obviously, the big talking point from the Spanish point of view, and we've discussed it a lot over the last couple of days, how Luis Enrique seems to have evolved as a manager to a scene that struggled so much when he was in charge of Spain to what we saw happen at the weekend.
Yeah, I think that we've been waiting for this moment. I think many people that supports the sport or enjoys about football was waiting for this moment to happen. Not because it's Paris Saint-Germain or because it's specifically Luis Enrique, but I think that the last few years Paris Saint-Germain was on the chase of this fantastic trophy, and it was Luis Enrique the one who from the very beginning told the club to believe in him. At the end of the season it was magnificent. The rhythm, the pace, the intensity of this team was amazing, and we saw in the last game where Inter de Milan couldn't get, he was just chasing shadows, he couldn't get the rhythm of the game, and they were really after 20 minutes out of the Champions League final. So fantastic news to see that if you work, if you show that there are changes that it can be done, and it doesn't matter if you don't have top players, that you can grow with young players. In the end, you can get the results. So really happy to see Luis Enrique lifting the trophy.
Luis, how do you explain then the struggles that he had with a good team, of course, at Spain that in fact went on to win the Euros after he left, to what he's done at PSG?
Well, it's curious, but at the end, I think that they are moments, I think he found in Paris Saint-Germain a group of players that they were ready to back him up, to follow him. Whatever he says, if he tells you to go through the wall, you're gonna go through the ball, and that's a message that he's been trying to impose into the dressing room. Respect around each other, and if you believe in what I'm doing, we're gonna be successful. I think in the past, we've seen his career, and he done it again with Barcelona, with the belief that the Barcelona player had in him. Maybe with the national team, that I think that they did a good job in the previous one. He didn't click or connect at some point with some of the players. So the players who were joining this, don't forget that they are coming from different teams, different formation, different styles. So it's not that easy to connect and to work on a daily basis. And I think the way that he plays is like similar to Barcelona. The amount of coordination that is needed to work to get the results is very difficult, and you have to work every single day, and maybe that's why he wasn't successful in the previous one.
And we've just lost Mario, who seems to be doing some photocopying at the moment. We'll get back to him in a moment. Luis, just how difficult is it to get a dressing room to believe in your theory, as it seems that Luis Enrique has done?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy because, first of all, you need to have results. If the results are not there, it doesn't matter the message that you're going to send. It's very difficult to drop from that. And I think that that's what Luis Enrique did. Opened his heart to Paris Saint-Germain. They believe in the message, in the style of play. And in the end, they get the results. This year with trophies in the domestic league, but also in Champions League, lifting finally this Champions League trophy.
Given the success they've had this season, does that make Luis Enrique's job harder or easier going into the next campaign?
Well, they have set a standard for themselves, and obviously meeting that standard, repeating is always difficult, always far more difficult than actually winning it the first time. However, there is something to be said about the fact that you've now relieved some pressure. You've now sort of achieved the goal that seemed impossible at some point, that we've had the conversation, is this a moment in which PSG blow it? Is this the moment in which PSG come up short? Is this a moment in which they don't deliver or they don't meet the expectations? That conversation cannot be had any longer. And so that is empowering for a manager, it's empowering for a club, it's empowering for the individual players that now they know what it takes to win a Champions League. And so repeating is always difficult because no two seasons are ever the same. And it's difficult to recreate the magic, to recreate the feeling. I think all of us that have played this game at a professional level know the differences between magical, special locker rooms and locker rooms that were not quite as magical, not quite as special. And in order for you to go on this long run, you need something special. You need a special feeling within the locker room. That certainly was the case for PSG. That certainly was the case for Luis Enrique as well. And I would also say that, I don't know if he has been mentioned enough or at all, the personal loss of Luis Enrique, of his daughter, that changes people. It has to. It has to have an impact in how you approach your everyday life and how you approach your job and how you relate to players. And while you don't want to look at it as a positive because it's never the case when you have such a personal loss, it's something that perhaps he used to empower him, to push him forward. If he's a man of faith, to utilize that faith and put himself in a position in which he uses what is devastating to be in a powerful position in the way that he communicates with his players. It's the only way that it makes sense to me that he's able to deal with this loss and then be able to then project to his players the way that he has. I think from every angle, what Luis Enrique has done this season has been special.
You brought up an interesting point yesterday, Fran. We were talking about the youth of this side, where it's like, oh, this is easy. Turn up, win a Champions League, win a treble, bish, bash, bosh. Going into next season, obviously, as Ali said, every season is different. With regards to keeping that respect there, keeping these young players fresh, keeping them hungry and making sure they listen to you, how big a task is that going to be?
It's a huge one. Confirmation is the hardest task that you have, especially in football. You were saying, Ali, that it's never the same season. So we all agree that Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain should have, like for at least a decade, a bright future. But you're only one winner in the Champions League, only one winner in the Liga or in the Liga. So you will have to confirm, but you will have to confirm with the tools that we have seen, with the players that they now are, in a way with the experience that they got this season. But people will know them. They will respect them a little bit more, and maybe they will try to find a solution to stop them. So the task will be harder. It's going to be always harder in everything, but he has the material for that. And if he finds the words, as you were saying, with kind of sensitivity that he can have and how he can use that, people is going to listen to him. That's the message you send to the players, and to make sure that they're going to give their blood to and their heart to you.
Mario's, I believe, the drilling outside has now subsided. Okay. So Mario, back with us. Mario, I imagine you've had similar times in your career as everybody has, when everybody's on the same page. Everyone has the same idea. They know exactly what they're doing. And I imagine as a team, as a professional, that must be one of the best feelings in sport.
Yeah, I think when you look at the team, you know, like everything gels so well. You understand? Like people talk about like if you look in the middle of the park, how they packed the middle of the park to make sure that Inter was almost like 3 of Inter against like 4, because Hakimi comes in the middle, and it wasn't like what we normally see. You understand? We see, for example, in the Premier League, you see Pep Guardiola does it. But it worked well. You know, the timing was well. They allowed them to have the ball and put them under pressure like crazy. Dembele plays like a forward, and just, you know, he knew what he had to do. You have to put them under pressure. Allow them to play the ball, and we're just going to run. And we're going to make sure they cannot think. Every time they look up, we are in their face. And the way they did it, normally they come out as a technical team. And when I played in France, you understand, I know the system, how they like to play. But when I saw them, it's like we knew they had the skill, we knew Inter had the experience, but how well they did it, it was just, sometimes things are just so good that Inter did not have an answer. That's exactly what I was watching.
We saw those players celebrating yesterday in Paris. You, of course, had similar celebrations as well in Liverpool. When does it sink in that you've won it?
Honestly, I think that when you retired, because
Wow.
now Paris Saint-Germain is yeah, actually, yeah. But to be honest, is because on your daily basis you win, you celebrate, you go on the parade and you celebrate with everyone. But you are thinking about what is coming next, because they got the World Club Championship in a matter of 10 days. So you're getting ready for that competition. And then they will start that one, and as soon as they finish, they will start again with the Liga, the Champions League. So I think that you really realize how important it is to win this trophy and how valuable it is to be part of one of these finals. When you retire, you look back, you see, I was there in one of the biggest, because this one is being one of the biggest because of the result, the way that it's been. The two teams is the first one for Paris Saint-Germain. We don't know if they're going to be anymore. So I think that you realize about that once you retire, because your career is not stopping. There is no time to think about what you've done, just what you got in front of you.
That's not good for Mayalu or Lamine Yamal, because he's going to enjoy within 20 years from now. That's the thing. Yeah, maybe he won't remember.
But it's similar to that. That's a really good point that Luis thinks. I think sometimes we forget that as people who haven't played the game. You're almost already thinking about the next step.
That's the thing, which is a good thing when you lose, because you forget about it very, very, very quickly. But when you win, and sometimes you say, oh, well, I want to enjoy, you don't have the time for that. You don't have the time, because you have to think that, only if it's the last game of the season, maybe you have some time. For the World Cup, for example, you have holidays, so you enjoy a little bit, and then you have to come back and start running again to prepare the season. And I tell you, with Marcel Desailly, we didn't want to run anymore. We said, hold on, we won the World Cup. What do we want to do?
Really?
Yeah, that was, and I remember the coach, the physical coach, stayed with us because the rest of the team was in the Netherlands at the time to prepare the new season. We were only the two of us with Ali Mafi, and he said, guys, you have to start running.
You thought you were better than everyone because you just
No,
won
we
the
never. I didn't go that. Wow. Why he does that?
No, that's what I'm hearing.
Major league.
You could
No, I say we were lazy because you don't want to make the efforts that you made for 2 months to become champion of the world. So you need to digest, and it's going to be the same for the Paris Saint-Germain player. That you just fed up a little bit with football. You just want to have the time to recover and to enjoy a little bit of it. And you don't have the time. You have to go back and go back and go back. And we did it. And a month after, we're happy. We won with Chelsea. We won the Super Cup against Real Madrid. We were back into business. And it's enjoyable. And as Luis said, and he mentioned, it's only at the end of your career you say, wow, okay, I can look back. I did that. That was pretty good.
It's convenient that Luis Garcia brings up the fact that you start enjoying this when you retire, because he's been invited to go and watch the Champions League final.
Oh, where was your invite?
No, it didn't come. Lost in the mail.
Yeah, we checked.
Luis, did you have the same problem with motivation that Frank did? Frank thinking that he was better than everyone else and didn't have to run?
Every person is different. I have my motivation, and it was just try to work every day. Yes.
Yeah. See.
How old was he? How old were you?
Him.
How old were you when you won the Champions League, Luis?
I was 27.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
How dare you wanting to work?
How dare you enjoy playing football
Mario,
again?
obviously you had success as well at Chelsea, for example. Does it affect you, like the next season?
I mean, I lost the Champions League when I was at Ajax, but then I was 19. I mean, I didn't know what winning was yet, but I won the league, so at least I knew that. But when I was at Chelsea, I played with Frank. We won the cup. And I think I understand what Luis said. You know, like sometimes when you win something, you enjoy that moment, but you know you have to carry on because you don't want to party too long or enjoy too long, because then the difficulty even kicks in more, you know, because I think sometimes players that don't end up like they win something, and then they stay partying too long, and they end up being in trouble. So I think sometimes it's also good sometimes that you start again.
I have a
and, like,
name. I have a
something
name
else
that I
is
can mention. That the guy never stopped partying. It was Frank Sinclair playing with us in the 2000. I think it was 98 League Cup. He scored the goal. And they never came back from the party. Yeah,
really?
Amazing. For 2 months, I said, Frank, you have to stop.
Good boy. I like it. I asked the boys this on Saturday. I'm just interested in your response. Louis, start with you. As a former professional, would you prefer to have lost 5-0, as of course Inter did on Saturday, or for it to be a really close game, like for example Milan against Liverpool 2005? Which, as a professional, would you prefer?
It's a difficult question. I think that a closer result give you a little bit of hope that we didn't do that bad, or we were there, or we were closer, we had our chances. A 5-0 result is true that that is really painful, because it shows like that you have never been there. And I think, again, when you look back to those finals, you're going to have regrets. It's something that I don't think that any player wants to have when looks back. But I have to tell you, I'm sure that if you ask any of the Milan players that they were there in that final, they will say, no, that was very painful, because they had it on their hands and they lost it just in 45 minutes. So, yeah, it's a difficult question. It depends on the person, of the character of the person. We were actually in 2007 again against AC Milan, and we lost it. And I think that we played better in that game. But in the end, they were better, and they got the trophy. But the feeling is that in the first one, we were maybe lucky, or we had something special. And in the second one, where we played better and we could have won the second one in 3 years, AC Milan was ready to fight that one. So it depends on the person, but definitely a big result like the one that we saw at the weekend, 5-0. You don't want to look bad and see that game again.
Mario, for you as a professional, which is worse?
I mean, like what he said, look, you don't want to lose with that kind of number, but I think the times when I was in that position, I would go all guns blazing. I don't care then. I don't think about, like, when I see them coming at me like 1-0, there was 20 minutes, 20 minutes, they were 2-0 down. I look at my coach, I say, Coach, you got to fix this, because if not, so halftime when they went in, I mean, when they came out, it didn't look no different. That was the only downside for me. But I would say something to my coach and say, like, hey, we got to do something. If not, we're coming out here and it's just like they're pulling our heart out. And I did not want that to happen, because the way PSG played and the way they felt, I would feel like I didn't even want the medal on my head. I would have just want to go home.
I think you're not going to be ashamed of losing at the last second on the 3-2, for example. When you go back home and you're such ashamed of losing 5-0, it's unbearable for me. It's why I'm with Luis. I know Ali thinks differently, and he has a right to do so, because
that's very kind of you.
We live in a democracy, even if you're wrong. Even if you're wrong, but how you don't want to talk about. I think all Inter Milan players will never talk about it anymore. Yeah. They will shut down the discussion. If you lose at the last second, say yes, where they were lucky or whatever, you can find excuses. You can
There's
talk
a story
about it.
there.
There is a kind of a pride of even, where you don't have anymore when you lose 5-0.
Wow.
That's shameful.
Counterpoint. I think it's easier to turn the page when you get destroyed in the manner in which they did. There is no what could have, what might have happened, this could have been, that could have been that. If this had gone our way, then maybe we win. And you start playing that in your mind, and you never let go of that. You never let go of that.
That's true.
You never let go of games that were really close, that were big games, big moments, and that if this had gone your way or that had gone your way. Look, I'll take you back. Personal experience. 2011 Copa America semifinal. I hit a header off the crossbar straight down to the goal line, and it came out. I think about that. Every time I see Venezuela play, I think about that and what could have been for us. Not for me, but what could have been for us in advancing to the finals of Copa America. And we're talking about a game of inches. If that ball had gone in, the history of soccer in our country changes. And so, obviously, that is something that sticks in my mind. Had we lost that semifinal 5-0, I wouldn't even think about it because obviously the other team would have been far better than us. But losing in the manner in which they did in penalty kicks, that sticks with me because we were inches, and I was inches from putting our team into the final of that Copa America.
Just little details, like Ronaldo not turning up in '98 would have changed everything.
Yeah, being sick, yeah, it's true.
Meanwhile, let's just take a look, shall we, at the list of the Ballon d'Or, Frank's favourite subject. Dembele is your favourite to win it. Lamine Yamal, who else groaned as well? Rafinha third. We won't talk about Ballon d'Or in particular, but I do want to focus on Dembele, Ali, who you were so critical of during his time at Barcelona.
Yeah.
What's changed?
A lot has changed for Ousmane Dembele. A lot. Mario just mentioned Dembele pressing in the manner in which he did, and it's something that Luis Enrique has highlighted and mentioned time and time again, that in itself is a difference between basically what Dembele is doing and did in the final of Champions League and essentially what he asked Kylian Mbappe to do and Mbappe was never willing to do. So that pressing never happened at Barcelona. His ability to play in inside positions never happened in Barcelona, in central positions. His final product, his final decision, not just his final product in terms of his own ability to score goals, but his final product in terms of the final pass, that little through ball to Kvaratskhelia or the little back heel to Vitinha, that both of which ended up in goals, those would have been turnovers when he was at Barcelona. The talent of Ousmane Dembele has never been in question, never. The maturity of Ousmane Dembele has been in question, and the maturity of his game and his decision-making in attacking positions. All of that has improved dramatically. He has become an entirely different player than what he was at Barcelona.
Interestingly, over the last few months, we assumed that Antoine Griezmann maybe could be heading to the States or could be moving away from Atletico Madrid. Yet it was confirmed that he signed a one-year extension with Atleti, seeing in there till 2027. Luis is still with us. Luis, considering how he was utilised in those last couple of months at Atleti, which wasn't like a superstar, wasn't necessarily like a man who was going to get a new contract, this is a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
I'm not going to tell you the reason, Dan, because definitely after what we've seen this year with Antoine Griezmann, he started very well the season. Atletico Madrid was grateful to that because it was him the one who was scoring, assisting and leading the team up front. But in the last part, we saw that he wasn't the same player. He wasn't sharp, he looked tired, he looked out of position. Of course, it's true that the Atletico Madrid in the whole he was struggling to get the results and to get a rhythm on the competition. So I was surprised a little bit. I thought that he was maybe thinking about moving on. And we all know that he's also a big fan of NFL, so he will be closer to that game too. First of all, as a mentor for the youngster, and second of all, because of his quality and talent. So yeah, surprisingly, but not so much because, he's a very important player for Atletico Madrid.
I think when you're 34, you have to consider other things, not only the football, other things for the family, the daughters for Antoine. Maybe the life that he has in Madrid suits him well, and if he could find an agreement for one more year, I think because he thought it through and because the club also realized that they needed him. I mean, he's been crucial to Atletico Madrid. He came back.
No doubt about it. But last 6 months, he was pretty anonymous.
Yeah, but
from this side. So is it more, as Luis says, a leadership mentor kind of role? And can you see that within him?
Maybe with he had some talks with Simeone. Maybe Simeone asked him to be in the dressing room, the leader that you're talking about, and help the team when they will need him. I mean, he's been a fantastic player for Atletico Madrid. He left for Barcelona and he was average.
Yes,
and
I know he's been
came
good.
back. He's important to the club, to the fans, and I'm pretty sure to the dressing room and the players, and they still need him. They wouldn't have signed him just for the pleasure of it, because he's going to be useful for sure because of his talent, his experience, and he knows the house, and he's going to show the good way to the other players.
I think the reason as to why the second half of the season was so impressively bad for Antoine Griezmann is because if you contrast it to the first half of the season, he was Atletico Madrid's best player. Early on in the season, he was their best player.
As he was the season before.
Yes,
It's true.
And so what was obvious to see is that what Simeone has been asking him to do over many years now it's taking a toll. And so you cannot demand from Antoine Griezmann consistently to be a guy who's a presence in the attack, who's a creative source, but also is chasing people around in defensive positions. So if you're keeping Antoine Griezmann, you're extending this contract until 2027, it's because either you're going to limit his minutes and utilize him in specific games for specific moments, or when he's on the field, and you're going to have him consistently on the field, his role has to be different. He has to be a guy that you allow him the freedom to go and find the game however he sees fit, and then everybody else around him will have to cover some of that space. Is Diego Simeone willing to do that? The answer to that is clearly no. He's never done it for anybody, and I don't think he's going to do it for Antoine Griezmann. And so therefore it tells me that his role will change in terms of the minutes and the importance of the minutes that he's going to play for this team.
So Griezmann staying at Atletico Madrid. What about Ter Stegen at Barcelona? Quite the old soap opera seems to be stirring up around his future and whether or not he'll be at Barca at the start of next season.
I will stay in Barcelona.
I'll stay in Barcelona.
Seguiré en el Barça.
There we go.
Your Spanish is getting better.
Well, what's interesting is I was getting completely different translation in my ear, which I have no idea where that's from.
Okay, what were they telling you?
But
I'm going to go.
don't mess with Ter Stegen.
What?
On his future, he said, am I affected by the rumours that the club wants to sell me? No one has told me about this, so I don't know the situation. I'm not worried. I know that I will be at Barcelona next year. I haven't spoken to Hansi and there hasn't been any contact in the last few days. I don't see any reason for that at the moment. No event has occurred that justifies the conversation. What's going on, Luis?
Rumors. I think there is always rumors. At the end of the season, last year, there were a lot of speculation about not having a second keeper. It was Iñaki Peña, the one who has to get involved because of his injury. And now everybody wants to know what is going to happen because it looks like Iñaki Peña, he wasn't going to continue. He's going to try to find somewhere else to be a keeper. Chesney introduction was actually better than we thought. He struggled a little bit in the first few games, but right after it was really, really impressive in the last part of the season. But Ter Stegen was going to be always the number one. So that means that he's got a lot of room to improve. And next to Ter Stegen, I think that it could be a fantastic option. Ter Stegen is not getting any younger, so in the next coming 2-3 years, maybe we could see Joan Garcia as the number one keeper for Barcelona.
Who'd you pick, Ali?
Well, Ter Stegen right now, but this seems to me such an easy solution for Barcelona. There are a couple of options here that are very straightforward, very clear to me. Wojciech Szczesny wanted to be on the beach. He was physically on the beach smoking his cigarettes. So let him go to the beach and smoke his cigarettes.
We're hearing cigar.
All right, sorry, my bad.
He's rich.
I'm sorry. My bad, Szczesny. So allow him to do that. And then you bring in Joan Garcia, and he'll be number 2 Ter Stegen, and you have a competition in which you push Ter Stegen, because if we're objective, Ter Stegen, even before his injury, was not at his very best with Barcelona. Regardless, he remains the number 1. The other solution is, if you want to keep Szczesny, for whatever reason, okay, Ter Stegen is your number 1, Szczesny is your number 2, you bring in Joan Garcia, and you loan him right back to Espanyol, where he's getting games, and he's getting repetition, and he's going to get a lot of action because Espanyol allow a lot of chances. And so he'll be getting his minute, preparing to take over Ter Stegen eventually. Those things seem to be very straightforward to me, but apparently not.
I don't believe that's true. That's just a rumor, as Luis said. When you have a German coach with a captain German goalkeeper, I think if he has just a thought about getting another coach, he would say to Ter Stegen, leave.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, leave. He wouldn't. He said he didn't talk to Hansi Flick. They would have said something. I think Hansi Flick would have come to him and said, you know what, it's time for you to go. I think the club wants to get another goalkeeper, and I cannot say no. And I think it would be a good thing. So, because of the same nationality, the partnership that they have, I think Hansi Flick would have talked to Ter Stegen.
One last thing, Luis. Look, when you were sat there in the VIP seats, drinking champagne and eating caviar, at what stage with your Barcelona hat on did you think, how did we concede so many goals to this Inter side and how did we get knocked out?
Yeah, at some point I thought something like that. I thought, why is not Barcelona playing this game? It could have been a lot more joyful, to be honest.
What do you make of all of this, Ali? Because this seems very much FIFA, as we've seen quite a number of times actually, desperate to get who they want in this competition as opposed to who deserves to be in it.
Well, the whole thing has been manipulated in terms of who makes the Club World Cup from CONCACAF. Think about this for a second. León, who qualified to be part of the Club World Cup, when they started the process as to the qualification process, if you will, and they achieved what they achieved and they qualified, at that point, there was no knowledge and no issue with them being part of the same ownership group as Pachuca. There was none of that. There was no issue. That was not part of the rules and regulations, if you will. It was not told or said to León at any point, hey, look, if you happen to win this, don't think that you're going to be in the Club World Cup because there's a possibility that Pachuca wins it, and if that's the case, they're going to go and you're not. That was never part of the discussion. But once it happened, León, not the most popular team, it was very easy to go, we shift the goalpost. We move the goalpost in favor of potentially either LAFC or Club America.
Who got in because they are the highest CONCACAF club efficient points.
Right, it's made up. All of this is made up, just like it is made up that Inter Miami are in this competition because they're a host, club host, because they won the Supporters' Shield. Anybody who has been in MLS knows the Supporters' Shield has no real tangible value. No real tangible value. Now, that has changed as of late, and they try to make it different. But the truth of the matter is that the Supporters' Shield shouldn't be the deciding factor as to why you're in a competition like this, an original competition like this. But it is. It so happens. Just so happens. Lionel Messi plays for Inter Miami.
How dare you, Ali?
So you start seeing the thought process here, and it's all manipulated. It's all handled one way or another to accommodate certain teams and certain names to be part of the competition. And so when we say that this Club World Cup is a made-up tournament, there is actual factual evidence that if you follow the path of what has happened and the decision-making process, that it is a made-up competition. And so it's hard to take it seriously.
A lot more from Ali, and I imagine a lot more on the Club World Cup. This latest edition of Football Americas.
You work a lot.
I thought my face was going to be missing. I thought.
I think it should be front and centre. I think you need to speak to your agent about that.
If they could push me to the right a little, it'd be best.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Mario is here, as is Luis, Ali and Frank as well, to answer some of your questions.
Mario, can you feel the love that I have next to me on my right side, from Dan, every time I'm here? That's incredible.
I feel like you guys you're playing the Champions League final right there, man. He's playing against you. I don't know. You understand? He's making you feel like you're Inter, Frank. I'm worried about you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're losing.
No,
I'm 5-0.
It's all love. It's all love. Mario, we need to get you in the studio as well at some stage. Yeah, Mario. Yeah, that's
thank you.
Good job.
Good job, Mario.
Will allow me to come and
Good
sit
job,
next
buddy.
to you.
Silence says it all.
We'll get there in a second.
Does anyone know how Yuri Djorkaeff's weekend was? As a former pro, what changes for you when you watch a final between two of your former clubs? Is it nothing but enjoyment? Can you enjoy it? So what finals would be the most testing for you, Frank? France against Chelsea?
Chelsea against Strasbourg or Chelsea against Marseille, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard because you want to hide because people are going to ask you what your predictions will be and everything. But it's hard. But I've never been a fan in a way. I like football and never.
Do you know who he was rooting for, Yuri?
When I was young?
No.
Yuri. Yuri, I think he was more It's more Paris Saint-Germain.
Right, okay.
I have to
Does
say.
he speak to you, or is he another one that doesn't answer your calls?
No. We didn't talk. I never,
That's a surprise.
We didn't talk. I didn't call him, but when I call him, he answers. You're such a mean person, in fact, because Yuri loves talking to me.
Really?
Yeah, he's the only
Wow.
one. In fact, he's the only one.
I'm sure you don't know this story about Yuri Djorkaeff. When he was here in Major League Soccer during the 2006 World
True,
Cup.
in New York.
Yes, he was with New York. He told the team that he had to leave for whatever the reasons may have been, personal reasons, I suppose. As France was playing in the 2006 World Cup, obviously,
He was there.
they panned to the stands, and
Fantastic.
Yuri Djorkaeff was in the stands while his team, the New York Red Bull, and at that point, the Metro Stars,
That's brilliant.
they were playing.
Yeah, but
And he had to leave for personal
Did he
reasons.
go fake glasses and
No, no.
moustache? No,
no.
nothing.
No.
Who works for the FIFA now?
Well,
Yuri Djorkaeff. The guy had the
He
thought.
knows what he's doing. He's
He's
like Luis. Luis is.
Luis is everywhere. you know.
Luis is most definitely
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Luis, I suppose Barcelona against anyone. You're supporting Barcelona, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. See,
I
that's-
could struggle maybe with Liverpool. If it's a final between Liverpool and Barcelona, I would struggle for sure. Or at least I would feel not the most happiest. But normally, I always try to see Barcelona as my first team, and that's the way I feel it.
What about you, Mario? Chelsea Ajax, maybe?
No, Ren.
West Brom, Birmingham?
There will be, yeah. You know, I always said, like, you gotta respect where you come from, guys. That is the key thing for me. So
Yes.
having them to play against each other, the best thing will be a draw for me.
Oh,
No,
it's
he
a
doesn't
final,
exist.
Mario.
No.
kind of final is it?
God.
Hey, Ali, you see, I put a spell on you.
Oh, dear. This could be one of the easiest questions we've had to have answered. Mm-hmm. Spurs or PSG in the UEFA Super Cup?
Well,
Yes.
we never know. Maybe PSG player will still be on the holidays. When is the game? It's on during the summer, I guess. Just
I thought you were going to cover it for us.
It's running like the last week of August normally, first week of September.
Yeah,
Luis,
so-
you'll go to it. When is
Yeah.
it? Is it in your diary?
You'll be invited.
Here we go.
yeah, I think it's the last week of August.
I don't know that.
Yeah, when I played against Madrid, that was at the end of August. Yeah.
There was one lone supporter of Inter at Milan's airport to welcome the team back on Sunday. Do you remember the reception you received from fans after arriving home from a terrible loss, good or bad? Venezuela, like coming back from, like, would they be waiting for you at the airport?
There were many things and many experiences that you go through when you're Venezuela and you're having to play against some of the teams that we had to play in South America. But one of the most, I believe, humiliating things that I ever saw firsthand, we're playing Brazil in Venezuela, World Cup qualifier. And we actually were playing well. But Brazil got in one of these runs in which we turn around, goal, turn around, goal, turn around, goal. 4-0, right? Kaká was amazing on the match. Amazing. Every time he touched the ball, he ended up in a goal. When they take him off the field, our people, our fans, our stadium, all up on their feet clapping for Kaká.
Well,
Standing
Kaká.
ovation.
Standing ovation for Kaká. And then it turned to every time that we touched the ball and it wasn't Kaká, we were getting booed. And I cannot begin to tell you how bad that makes you feel. How much of a slap in the face that was. And I mean, it stays with me. This was years upon years ago and certainly made an impression.
No, not bad.
No. World Cup 2002 when we came back from is that Japan and Korea.
That's when you got knocked out in the group stages, was it?
Yeah, we've been kicked out, and I was expecting a bad welcome back to from the French fans in Paris. No one was there.
No one could be bothered.
Yeah,
It's like you guys against Senegal.
completely
Couldn't be
ignored.
bothered. That was
Yeah,
it.
completely ignored.
Yeah.
Maybe for the best.
Probably better.
Luis, any particular welcomes you've received? Unwelcome welcomes?
When we won the Super Cup, the European Super Cup, we went back to Liverpool and there was no masses of us. I think when I look back, I'm very proud to win that competition because you only can win it if you win
Yeah.
the Europa League or the Champions League. and I think they actually a very good thing. But when we went back to, it's like the Supercup doesn't have that
No, it's over.
that
the
importance
gravitas.
to the supporter, to the club. So no one didn't care.
August the 13th, by the way, is PSG against Spurs, I've just been told. Mario, did you get any lovely welcomes when you returned home?
Yeah, we got some lovely welcomes, but we also have some downsides. Like I remember one time we won the double, the next year we won only the cup. The club said we don't celebrate it. I was in Ajax. Oh my God, that was a disappointment that moment.
Yeah.
You know, like you arrive at the stadium and you don't see no fans, and then you know you're in trouble, because then it's like normally you celebrate it, people celebrate it, and this time they said no, we're not doing anything. So
that's
everybody
great.
just
That's
packed up,
absolutely
jumped
great.
in this car and drove home.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. It happened to us as well. We won the Cup Winners' Cup against Stuttgart, Chelsea, and we didn't have the time to celebrate. I think we had a game after, like 3 days after, so the club said no celebration.
Right.
That's insane.
It just feels like a story in which you can just crowbar in the fact you won the Cup Winners' Cup.
No. It's just the fact that we were talking during the show that you don't have the time sometimes to enjoy, because you win and you have to go back to work, and that's exactly what it was. And we won the League Cup, then we won the Cup Winners.
For Ali, start, bench or sell, Jackson, Havertz or Nunez?
Wow.
Hey, Dan,
Nicholas
oh my
Jackson,
God.
Kai Havertz, Darwin Nunez. Oh, my me.
Mario, if you could swap...
That's a good.
Did you answer? Sorry.
No, you can go ahead if you so desire.
No, I thought
And
that
so
was
we
the
couldn't
order.
celebrate.
I thought that was the answer.
That was not the answer. I don't even know what I said, but I'll say Jackson, Darwin Nunez, Kai Havertz.
And when we arrived at the airport, we didn't see anybody.
Was it against Stuttgart?
yeah.
Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
What about the League
Straight
Cup?
after winning the League Cup.
Mario, if you could swap jerseys with any player, who would it be? That's a good question.
I mean, I already, okay, what I swapped with a number of guys that I enjoyed it, you understand? So I have Cristiano Ronaldo's one, but I will definitely take a Messi one without a problem.
Okay.
But my biggest one that I have right now at my house, I have Diego Armando Maradona
Never heard of
and
him.
Pele.
Oh.
Those
Yeah,
two
not a
were
good
gifted
player.
to me, signed. I think those two, you cannot compete with me anymore. I own those two. Don't even try to touch them. If the dust comes on it, I take it off.
Wow, there we go. Luis, I know where he's sat at the moment to his right. He's got like a rack of, I would say, 60 shirts.
Oh yeah, you were at the visit.
Yeah, I've been to his house, yes, and he's got 60 shirts all there that you swap with.
Yeah.
Any player in the world, who would it be, Luis?
I would say Ronaldo.
Which one?
Brazilian
I think
Ronaldo.
that I had the opportunity to play the Ronaldo Nazario.
Yes.
I had the chance of playing against him, but never had the opportunity to swap it, because always someone was going there to try to take the jersey from him. So I would love to have his shirt over here hanging on the shelf.
Ali?
Well, obvious one would have been Brazilian Ronaldo, the OG.
Yes.
Michael Laudrup.
Ah.
Love me some Michael Laudrup with obviously with Denmark and then Juventus. And growing up, Michael Laudrup, and he played with Platini at Juventus.
Oh yes.
Back in the day, he was certainly one of my
Wozniak.
favorite players growing up. Yeah.
For me, because you're asking me the question, will be the only GOAT, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, Pele.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, I think I would have put in a poster like Luis Garcia, every day.
Yes.
I bought it, and I went to Miami. I went to the store and I bought the New York Cosmos shirt of Pele.
Right.
I have it at home. I love it. It's great shirt. Great, what a player. I mean, we talk about Lamine Yamal, we talk about Désiré Doué. That guy won 3 World Cups out of 4, and he was 17 when he won the first World Cup. And he was different. Of course, it was different football, but he had all the talent that those players have, without having maybe the diet, the physical aspect of the game, and the treatment that we players have now. That guy was an alien for me.
The boys had a spirited discussion about Yamal against Dembele as Ballon d'Or winner.
Oh my God.
Ali, isn't Messi going to get it because when Inter Miami win the Club World Cup?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's no.
Okay, I think it's tongue in cheek.
Yes.
So just tone.
Yeah, yes.
No, I'm just well, tongue in cheek and seriously, no. No is the answer to that. No, I think Lamine Yamal will win it, and I think Lamine Yamal should win it.
For Luis,
That's not nice for Dembele. I tried because people are saying that yesterday I said Lamine Yamal, so I don't like.
For
Dembele.
Luis, do you still suck
blah,
your
blah, blah.
thumb?
So-
Reviewing old YouTube videos, a lot of thumb sucking going on during your playing day.
What? What?
What?
No, I don't anymore. That's something that I used to do. Yes.
What about the sideburns, though?
Yes, yeah, that's something that I used to do because of my son. My first born Joel used to suck his thumb when he was a baby. He didn't want to suck the dummy. So I started doing that to celebrate it on his name, but I'm not doing anymore. He's not doing anymore.
I know grown-ups who still do it. Yeah.
Okay.
For Luis,
Don't turn your head like it was a dirty thing that I said.
Hey,
I didn't say
you guys
dirty thing.
really
Let's
like each
move
other.
on.
You like each other.
Let's move on.
Dad, if I come to the studio and you treat me like that, Frank, I'll tell you, man. If you
not
want,
touching
I
that
can
one.
book your flight so you can go home
Hey,
because
Mario.
this guy is going at you.
No.
Don't try to defend me. It's impossible to live with him.
Ah, dear. I know some clubs boards care about the Club World Cup. As a player, how hard would you be playing in this competition? Mario, what do you reckon?
I know some club as a player. How hard would it be to play in the Club World Cup? Look, it's the first one. I'm not sure if all the teams are really going to be that focused on, you understand, the way it is. I think the journey of course, there's financial contribution to winning it, but you just finished your long season, then you're going in this, and then you got to start the next one. I'm a little bit worried. I know people will say the World Cup is the same, the Euro is the same, but I have to see if players are not going to protect themselves instead of going all out in this tournament so the season starts again. So,
Well, if
it's a hard one for me to
Mario,
say.
if you're Jude Bellingham or Trent Alexander-Arnold, you better play the best you can because they are pushed to play that, and that's insane for me.
Luis, if you were playing in the Club World Cup,
Yeah, that's
how would you
okay.
feel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the guys. Again, I've said it many times. I love to play. I never been tired of playing. And you can get tired of the routine, of the training and everything. But if you are playing the game, and I think this is our passion. We love to. I will have loved to play. To be honest, I never had that moment that I say, "Oh, I'm tired of playing. I don't want to play anymore." So that's the way I feel.
I'm with Luis. A competition is a competition. You're a football player, you are paid for that, and you love football. I would have played 100% for the cup. I think it's a stupid competition, but because I'm in it, you're going to play against big teams, so you better win. I mean, that's to do
Just
this.
committed to the sport.
Yeah, and well,
That's why you went to Qatar for $2 million.
Yeah, to expose, to
grow the sport.
2 million? No, more.
Yeah, but you got to protect yourself too.
To the world. The world.
Are you crazy or what?
Hey, this is a big deal for MLS teams, I'll say that.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and for CONCACAF teams,
It would be actually a bad... But there we go.
Well, I know, I understand what you're saying. I get the idea. But for them, they're in the middle of the season. For them, this is a big deal, and it's a big opportunity because if there are other teams that perhaps are not paying attention to this, it's a moment and an opportunity for MLS to showcase their product to the world. And whether that goes well or not, we'll see. Yeah. As for playing in this competition, I prefer this than doing preseason, for example.
Right. Yeah, true.
You know, I'm just saying, we'll go play some games rather than having, and some of these teams would actually be traveling anyway, like Manchester United traveling to the end of the world to go and play the Hong Kong 11 and this, that, and the other. True. I would prefer to play this than do that.
Final question is for Frank Leboeuf.
Whoa.
Would you rather win the Club World Cup and be named player of the tournament or win the Ballon d'Or?
Of the Club World Cup. It's a collective sport. Again, I defend that, and I want to win with my teammates. I don't care. No, but I really don't care about the Ballon d'Or. I mean, people, if
Frank,
they're happy.
come on, man. Hey, I played with you. Don't even start that. Don't start that. You would not want the Ballon d'Or?
No, I don't care about the Ballon d'Or. I don't want the Oscar. I don't want the Molière, for the play. I don't care about that.
Who's giving
guys.
you the Oscar?
I almost got it because I went in the theory of everything. It was named.
Yeah.
It was nominated as the best.
You're in it for
movie.
2 seconds.
Yeah, but not for 1 minute and a half first.
I'm gonna
and
give
we
you
have
the
won.
Oscar.
I would have gotten the statue for myself as an actor.
Right.
Yeah, but in a collective manner. Again, I don't like the Ballon d'Or. Stop with that. It's a French invention, which was one of the worst French invention ever. Insulting our sports with the Ballon d'Or. At the time we had the Ballon d'Or with Zidane, everything, everybody was happy for the player for 5 minutes. Now it's the holy grail. That's why I don't like it.
All right. Yep. So Club World Cup, you would take over the Ballon d'Or.
Well, I don't have the choice. You ask me either the Club World Cup or the Ballon d'Or. So I go
Luis,
for the
which
club.
would you prefer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
Ballon d'Or.
Of course. Of course.
Mario?
Me? Oh, I want to see who's gonna be the best king in the world. That's what I want. I go Ballon d'Or. Show me the king.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes,
I'm not going like
Because you
Frank.
love money. Because you know you're going to get more money because of that. That's
no,
what
money
it is.
never been the game.
Fame
for me,
and
my
money,
friend.
that's
I grew up
only
without money. So money will not dictate my life, my friend. Never did. Never did.
Get serious.
Not
Ali, what are you taking?
Well, he's a
I
striker.
don't think I'm getting any of it, but I would say the Ballon d'Or.
Right, there we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, selfish people.
Ali, I like you,
that's
Ali.
That's it.
Go and watch The Theory of Everything.
And the minute and a half that Frank really...
But it's
He
crucial.
brings it home.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
I played the Swiss doctor.
Incredible acting.
Incredible acting.
Like a chameleon.
Eddie Redmayne almost gave up and say he almost retired at the time when I came
Really?
home to
So it's a Swiss doctor, not a French doctor.
well, no, because the real story was a Swiss doctor, but I don't get the Swiss accent.
Well, surely you should have done that. That's why you didn't win the Oscar.
This is what you're supposed to work on.
We are not sure that the Swiss doctor at the time had a Swiss accent. So,
What accent would the Swiss doctor have?
you know, they put me a wig
Right.
because they say nobody was bald at the time.
Right.
But I fought hard,
Okay.
and I'm so happy. I just have the picture with the wig.
Right.
It's so ugly. I look like my mother, but I played.
Right.
I played bald.
And you deliver bad news for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Bad news because I wanted to stop the machine.
And it was
And-
quite a soft focus, I noticed in the movie as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to take you from.
Focus.
Yeah. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. We will be back tomorrow with Frank and who else?
Frank.
More Frank.
I'm going to do everything tomorrow.
We'll be looking ahead to this big Nations League game. You know who France have got?
Yes.
Who?
Spain.
Hey!
Yeah, Lamine Yamal against Dembele. Who's going to get the Ballon d'Or after that game?
Me and Frank are going for dinner now. How fast?
I read that.